A letter to King Abdullah, but not only King Abdullah, but his wife, Queen Rania of Jordan. Dear King Abdullah and Queen Rania, I want to thank your wife, Queen Rania, for her messages to Christians. She is doing a great humanitarian work among the Syrian refugees. The two greatest commandments of God given to Israel through Moses, in short, are to love thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. To love your neighbor as yourself. Like you and Queen Rania are so doing with the Syrian refugees, loving your neighbor. But this can come with a cost. When some people who have a different agenda see someone doing good for people who they do not want to see blessed, they get mighty angry, especially when one does good toward those who they view as an enemy. They try to do something to stop their efforts. But like I said previously, Jesus died for his enemies. This is real, true love for people. Faith in Jesus can expand your provision. He can more than adequately provide for your efforts. He has indeed expanded his provision for me, meeting all my needs. Keep up with your humanitarian efforts, dear King Abdullah and Queen Rania. While ISIL puts up a fight in Iraq to uphold Mosul, they are also on the attack against you, King Abdullah, and against your kingdom of Jordan. Jordan ranks 6th richest country in the world in terms of oil shale deposits. Controlling the oil market will make ISIL dominant. An attack and takeover Jordan will put them in a position of controlling Palestine. It will also put them in position next to Israel as well. ISIL already has much of the oil from the oil fields in Iraq, of which have been sent to Turkey and Iran. They made out big with the oil plains south of Mosul. Now they can move on. Mosul becomes less important. Though they like to keep it, Iraq does run them thin. ISIL is much more formidable than the Nazis in World War II. They stood toe-to-toe against those who they wanted to conquer. Nations stood toe-to-toe with one another as they declared war against one another. ISIL does not do that. ISIL, on the other hand, you do not know where ISIL is going to be or where they are going next. You do not know where they are going to strike. With them, it's over there. No, they are over there. No, over there. No, they are right here. Groups like the Muslim Brotherhood get into voting processes. This is the beginning of tearing governments apart from within. They're like foxes in a vineyard. Foxes if not caught will ruin a vineyard. Foxes must be caught. They will begin to slowly but surely ruin the country. Tearing apart the good that you believe you are doing for your country, for people, and the world, politically and economically. What had been seen by King Solomon, son of David, was written down by him. In Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 13 to 18. He said, "This I came to see as wisdom under the sun," and it impressed me. There was a small city with men in it, with a few men in it, and a great king came to it, surrounded it, and constructed large sea works against it. But there was found in it a poor wise man, and he delivered the city by his wisdom. Yet no one remembered that poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength. But the wisdom of the poor man is despised, and his words are not heeded. The words of the wise, heard in quietness, are better than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. Jesus was this poor wise man who had delivered this city by his wisdom. Yet no one remembered that poor man. The wisdom of this poor man was despised, and his words were not heeded. I am a poor man by a king's standard, but I am also a wise man. I am full of spiritual riches, riches of wisdom and understanding. As Luke chapter 1 says, many have undertaken to draw up an account of the things that had been fulfilled among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who were eyewitnesses and servants of the word. Here are the accounts of Jesus performed the miracle of multiplying the fish and the loaves of bread. Jesus does this more than one time. They are found in the Bible. Matthew 14, 13 through 21, Matthew 15, 32 through 38, Luke 9, 12 through 17, and Mark 8, 1, 9. The Quran also speaks of the miracles of fish and bread. The Bible has a different take on the situation. Let's just go to Mark 8, 1 and 9. During those days, another large crowd gathered. Since they had nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them home hungry, they will collapse on the way, because some of them have come a long distance. The disciples answered, but where is this remote place? Can anyone get enough bread to feed them? How many loaves do you have? Jesus asked. 7, he replied. He told the crowd to sit down on the ground. When he had taken the 7 loaves and given thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples to distribute to the people, and they did so. They had a few small fish as well. He gave thanks for them also and told the disciples to distribute them. People ate and were satisfied. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. About 4,000 were present. After he had sent them away, he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the region of Del Manutha. Well, let's go down to Mark chapter 8, verse 17. Well, verse 16. They discussed this with one another and said, it is because we have no bread. Because the disciples had forgotten to bring bread, except for the 1 loaf they had with them in the boat. Verse 17. Aware of their discussion, Jesus asked them, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but fail to hear? And don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of pieces did you pick up? 12, they replied. And when I broke 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? They answered 7. He said to them, do you still not understand? In the book of Isaiah of the Old Testament of the Bible, it refers to Jesus as more than just a prophet and a miracle worker. In chapter 9, verse 6 to 7 of Isaiah, it refers of him in this manner. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given. And the government shall rest on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Blessed Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. In the Bible, the New Testament, Jesus asked this question of the disciples, who do they say I am? This is found in Matthew 16, 13, 17. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say that I am? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, so others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Well, what about you? He asked, who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, Son of the living God. Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. Now let's go down to verse 21 in Matthew 16. Jesus goes on to explain what he came to do. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, that he must be killed and on the 3rd day be raised to life. Isaiah in chapter 53, actually beginning in chapter 52, verses 13 to 15, it speaks about the Messiah as the suffering servant. That was to come and has come. You can read that in the Old Testament of the Bible, starting in chapter 52, verses 13 to 15. And then going to Isaiah 53, the whole chapter. From 1 to 12. Matthew 1, 18-24 says this. This is how the birth of Jesus the Messiah came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph. Before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law, yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home to be your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son. They will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us, or God tabernacled among us. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him, took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate the marriage until she gave birth to a son. He gave him the name Jesus. This is my third letter. But this letter goes to not only King Abdullah, but his wife, Queen Rania of Jordan. Thank you.